The world gets crazy sometimes. It's crazy all the time. And fellas, sometimes we just need to get away. And down south, we go hunting and fishing to get away. This is the Backroads Podcast. Let's do this. Welcome to the Backroads Podcast. Now, here's your host, Chris Hobbs.
Well, all right, welcome into the program. Today, as promised, we are going to bring in one of the most knowledgeable guys in the industry out in the deer woods or the pig woods or even on the water. And that's Mr. Rex Holmes, owner of Vapor Trail Scents. Rex, how you doing?
Hey, doing great, man. Good to hear from you.
Well, we appreciate you taking, I know how busy you are, and we really appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us for a second. I think there's a lot of folks out there listening that would be really interested in your take on deer scents and what you've done since you created the company in 2008 to really change the industry as far as deer scents and deer scent covers. Kind of take us back to 2008 when you were, getting tired of getting busted by animals and kind of take us from there on what your mindset was to really turn over this industry.
Well, really and truly, I had no idea of starting a company or anything like that. I had actually went to Alabama. Where you at? On a hunt. Some friends of mine were going, and one of them couldn't make it. And they wanted me to go with them, so I went with them over there. I had never hunted with an outfitter or nothing before, so it was all brand new to me. And we got over there, and there was a guy had been there from Georgia that was on. It was a huge field, and he was this monster buck crossed, and he was like 500 yards from it. He didn't even try to attempt a shot, said he had never made a shot that far. So the outfitter asked me, did I want to go over? I said, that deer may come right back out that afternoon, and I'll put you on a stand closer down there to where he comes out. And I said, sure. And I had on a full, scent suit, the whole shampooed, the whole 9 yards, did everything I could do to keep my scent contained at that time. And anyway, I had I walked up into the shooting house, and I could tell the wind was blowing the wrong way, and I said, but he said, don't worry. He said, the deer's going to come out there in front of you out there. Anyway, so don't worry about the scent. Well, I had a 6 by 12 inch window in that shooting house, and I had 23 deer come out, and every one of them smelled me. Some of them, snorted and run, and some of them just turned and slipped back the way they come. But 23 deer, I couldn't believe it, and I said, look, this is, we've got to work on this. There's got to be a way. So we were spraying down during that time with those spray bottles, with the trigger on it and pulling, and every time I'd skip a spot. I'm watching myself real close, and when you're by yourself, you can't spray your back. You can't get it, and that's where you sweat the most, especially if you're toting, your backpack with all your gear in it. You'll be soaking wet with sweat. So the first thing I did was come up with the vapor maker. It was a pump-up atomizer, so I could spray down from head to toe and not skip a spot and be covered. And at that time, I trusted the scent eliminators that were being made out there. I thought they were working. And so we came up with an attractant, and we called it 33-point buck. And we this day and time, we call it our God thing, because we God had to hit us in the head to show us what we had. It's nothing but plants that we gathered in the woods, and we basically cooked them just like you would at home, and you could take it, and they're all edible for us, even would be good if you drink it. They'd be good for you. You can spray down. You don't matter if you get it in your eyes, your ears, or anything. It's not going to hurt you in any way. It'll probably help you in a real way. But we had went to Illinois on a hunt, and we was running down this strip pit with the boat and the motor. I plugged the motor up, and it shot gas up my arm. And at that time, I toted a vapor maker with the dough and heat. I had one with, I'm not going to say the actual product, but a scent, one of the scents in it. And I had one with our 33-point buck in it. And I sprayed that one up and down my arm. I sprayed it. It didn't do nothing. It didn't kill nothing. And just like I said, a God thing, I grabbed the 33, I sprayed it. The gas was gone. I mean, unbelievable. I didn't even believe it. I had a younger hunter with me. I was filming, and he was doing the shooting, and I let him. He said, no, it's gone. So when we got out of there, I went to St. Louis to Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. I bought every scent eliminator there was, and we tested all of it. And even to this day, there's only one out there that works at all besides us. I mean, only one, and I'm serious. I mean, we test, and we try to test every new one that comes out. There is a new one out now that we haven't tested yet, but there's only one out there that really works. And it tells you on the bottle, do not get it on your skin. And the thing that people don't understand, I realize I'm talking so much, but it is so in depth of how scent and liquid in the air works in the hunting world, today. But it's, to be able to spray yourself down that easily and the vapor maker is just, I mean, it is astronomical. It makes a difference. Just like last night, I killed a monster hog last night. I was less than 20 yards from him. And, of course, the wind nowadays, we really don't have a prevailing wind anymore. Wind blows in all directions. But, it's something.
It is that. You showed us, when me and Rodney came down there to hunt pigs a few years ago, you showed us that trick with the gas. And you put gas on something and then sprayed it down with a 33-point buck. And I'm here to tell y'all, it's gone. What he just said is the exact truth because I've seen it. It was gone. Now, with the vapor maker, the vapor maker is an excellent way to spray yourself down, but there's something about the way that the mist comes out of there. And you explained that to us while we were down there. Explain the importance of why the misting of the product is better than just having the trigger spray nozzle.
Well, the trigger sprayers today are way better atomizer than when we first come up with the vapor maker. And we do have a mini vapor maker, that'll fit in your pocket that's great, that you can use your dough and heat in and whatnot like that. And back then, you wouldn't be able to use anything like that because it wouldn't atomize enough. You have to, scent is atomized even when the dough comes in estrus. She's 112 degrees on her private parts. Even if she's walking through the woods at 100 degrees, temperature outside, her scent's going to be floating in the air. Heat rises. And that's what the vapor maker does. It's at that small atomizes atoms, so that it floats in the air. If you got a 3-mile-an-hour wind and you spray scent in the air with an atomizer like this, you're going to go 1/8 of a mile down through the woods in 45 minutes. And believe you me, and especially a hog, a hog a deer can smell 1,000 times better than we can, and a hog can smell 1,500 times better than we can. So realistically, we can't smell the gas, but that doesn't mean when we did this that the deer couldn't smell it. Yes, it would be better, way better, but still. So we've laid on the ground and we put the corn in front of us. We put the corn between our legs, and we've had animals come there and eat the corn right there by us. We've grabbed them we put the corn 2 foot in front of us, and when they put their head up there, their legs will be right in front of us, and we've grabbed them. We ain't never held on to one yet, but we've grabbed them several times, and we've literally put the corn right in front of our face. And actually, one of the guys with Real South, his son did it, and 2 hogs come in there. I guarantee you they wasn't 6-8 inches nose to nose, all 3 of them there. So it's it's like I say, it's a God thing. It's unbelievable, what we've done, and trying to get it out there and get it to people. And the one thing I really want to tell the hunters today is how the scrape works. The scrape is the buck's cell phone,
Well, go into a little bit. You explained that to me and Rodney at one time, and it's fascinating stuff. So go ahead and get into that a little bit.
Well, the biggest flag that threw up to me, they tell us that the bucks are rubbing the preorbital glands on the limb and whatnot. Like, and yeah, they do. They do leave scent on the limbs and whatnot. But the thing that bothered me, and of course with us, with the cameras we got now, and even years ago, and being able to get the footage and all, we can see things in the deer that we could never, like us setting up in the tree with, without having it on film and bringing it in and putting it on the big screen TV. We didn't see a lot of the things, but why would that, if they were just rubbing preorbital glands and whatnot, why did that limb need to be dead center of that scrape? That's the thing that I had to understand and I had to figure out. And that camera is what made, and of course, hunting the scrapes and us making our own scrapes and watching them work our scrape and not their scrape. Things we learned so much. And what that buck does when he makes that scrape, he's making sure the whole time that limb is dead center of that scrape. And we always thought, as I grew up and whatnot, I always thought that the dirt on the ground was where the messages come from when they urinated on the ground and whatnot. But that's not so. When the doe comes in there, she gets in the center of that scrape. That's why he keeps it clean, so she knows where the middle is. She gets in the middle of it. She hunches. She urinates over her private parts. She's 112 degrees when she's in estrus, and that estrus goes up and sticks to the bottom of that limb. That buck comes in there, and if you look at a skull mound of a buck, you'll see he's got 2 long holes in the top of his mouth that goes into his nose. He pulls that scent into there, runs it over his olfactory, which is like an accordion in there, and he knows exactly where she is in her cycle. That's how he gets his message. That's why I call that scrape the buck cell phone. Now, the other thing that we have learned is that the soil nowadays is so acidic. If you ever took a piece of metal in a grinder and you grind it down to a shiny, beautiful, shiny, and you left it and the rain come down and hit on it, the next morning that thing will be as rusty as can be. That's how acidic the rain is today, and that's one thing of the water rising is killing the trees way more better now than faster. I mean, it's unbelievable than when I was growing up. But that acidity kills the pheromones in the urine, so the buck can't tell where she's at the, and we have literally urinated in the scrape ourselves, and the buck not pay that no attention. The up above is where the signal comes in, and in all honesty, everything I can see that, and I still take a bottle with me and I'll urinate in it in the woods a lot of times, but really honestly and truly, I have not seen any deer that really took a negative view of where we urinated or whatnot like that. Actually, in Missouri, year before last in Missouri, I'm getting old, so I urinate quite a bit sometimes, and I had urinated 5 times out of my stand that morning, and I had 3 deer come dead under, all on camera, everything dead up under me, right where I urinated. Ain't none one of them paid no attention to it. But now, if you do a number 2 in the woods, that's a whole different ball game right there, buddy. They will pick it up like Katie bar the door.
That's a little bit of a different scent.
Yes, yes. Well, me and a friend of mine was in a growed up pasture, really growed up. Some of the trees were maybe 10 foot tall, and we had one kind of bushy tree. We had 2 stands. We weren't probably 8 foot off the ground, and I had to go. Well, we had a ditch full of water back over there, and so I knew. And I went over there, and I had on my rubber boots, so I'm standing in the water, and going to the bathroom and whatnot. And I thought, well, I will be good, and I got finished and all, got back up in the tree, and a buck come out. The wind was blowing straight across. And, of course, I did. I sprayed down with the 33, on me and whatnot like that. Well, when that buck got perfectly level with the wind blowing across, that sucker throwed his head up and he bounded forward real fast. He picked it up. And so I told, and we were, further in, and so I said, well, we'll find out if it smells us or not, because it'll do the same thing when it gets down here. And he walked right by us, right down, both of us. Of course, we had used the 33 big time. We made sure. And we towed it into the tree with us, and we'll spray down up there just like last night. When I went out last night, I killed a big monster hog last night with my bow. And if I was soaking wet with sweat, time I got up I got a climbing stand in there. Time I got climbed up and everything like that, I was soaked. And I mean, my face, I was having to wipe my face constantly and whatnot like that. And to get an opportunity, I wasn't that far from it. It's the 33 now. Let me tell you something. Nothing is going to protect you 100% of the time. Nothing. No, the only thing it could do is get in a full rubber suit, to where no scent could be come out. would be the only way, because those animals can smell so good. But the 33, like Jimmy Sykes says, 90% of the time you're gonna be good. I mean, it makes a world of difference.
It does do that. And there's something you're talking about being out there in the heat and sweating that Rodney brought up when we talked about you being on the show, and we were talking about the 33 point buck, is that atomizer out of that, the vapor maker. I mean, when it comes out, and I don't know why, but when we sprayed that on us, when we were pig hunting down there and how hot it was, like it was with you last night, that is a cooling effect like you will not believe. You just spray it on your hat and on your face and all around your neck and your shoulders. I mean, it'll drop your temperature amazingly.
Yeah, we had some guys come in from Kentucky here, and when I went and picked them up that morning, after we'd got through with the hunt and whatnot like that, he had emptied his vapor maker. I said, Lord, what was you doing? He said, that thing will cool you off. I said,
it does.
Yeah. Well, and it is, you could, in reality, you could take and, like you go to ball game or something like that, you could put some ice water or ice and water in there and really cool yourself down. And the thing about it is, you can, the atomizers, the molecules are so small that, you spray your face and cools your face, but there's really no liquid on your face, because the molecules are so small. But there's so many things that the vapor maker are good for. It's like people that live in the city and got plants in their house, they can take it, spray and wet the leaves and all, and spray the water on the leaves of their plant without getting water everywhere. We make it real easy, so their plants really do way much better. I mean, you can take and put a bug poison in there, and spray, or ant poison or whatever, and you can spray the inside of your house or what. I mean, there's multiple things you can use it for. I mean, it's really in the atomizer. The new when we just redesigned it, made it better than it was, and our atomizer is way better too. It puts the scent out in like a turkey fan, really, to where when you go down your leg, you're covering everything on the front and the side, just one time down. I mean, you can spray down from head to toe in less than 10 seconds.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's worth. Look, if you go to, I believe your website's gillymonsteroutdoors.com or vaportrailoutdoors.com, you can go check out all Rex's products. You can order the vapor maker. It's all there. He's got a lot of great products there. And Rex, one thing I will get you to talk about for a second is all your products you have on your site, you've tested. And if they don't meet the Rex Holmes standard, they don't go on there. That's correct?
That is correct. I've tried some stuff that didn't work, and we don't do it. If it don't work, we don't do it. And number one, and like with the vapor maker, when we first come up with the 33 and put it in there, we even sent it to the university to find out if, it had a growth in it. And we didn't know what that growth was, trying to figure out so we could do away with it. And it was stopping it up. And we was telling everybody, hey, it's stopping. We even put it on the website telling people, but people said, I don't care. We'll put a, we did put a filter in there, and the filter, the growth was so so big it was stopping the filter up too, and we told it like it was, but guys had used the 33 so much, and back we didn't realize that it was a scent eliminator like it was at the time, and they didn't care. They just wanted it. So, but being honest, this day and time is very, very important. You just tell it like it is, and you're going to come out way ahead.
That's right. That's right. You don't have to remember the truth. You have to remember lies.
Yeah.
Now, Rex, I know you've got some new products coming out. I know you're not at liberty to talk about some of those at this point, but what have you got coming out that you can talk about?
Oh golly, that's a tough one there. But we do got some blinds coming out that right now when you pop a ground blind up, if you don't take leaves and limbs and all and cover it and blend it up, it just don't. The animals come out, the turkeys come out, they see it, they won't come to it. So we're working on a blind right now that you should be able to pop up in the middle of an open field. And now they have been manufactured, they have been shipped to me, but I haven't tested them yet. We got to test it, make sure it does what we think it's going to do. But this will be a blind that's made really. Now, if you got a small kid, you could both of you get in there, but it's going to be 3 foot in diameter and about 5 foot 4 inches tall. You'll be able to pop it up and get in it, and it should blend in no matter where you at. That's one of the newest things that we're working on, and we are working on stuff for fishing too. We've got about 16 projects going, but I've only got 4 right now at the factory that we're working on, the four top ones right now. And one of them is actually a motor for fishing that we actually built. That it's another one of those things that God helped us with, and we've come up with a part of a motor that nobody's ever even imagined yet of how to. I mean, it's going to be astronomical if we can pull it off. Yeah, we've got the quick all mount that allows you to mount your phone, GoPro, cameras on any piece of equipment you got on your gun, your scope, your bow. It'll mount all of those things to anywhere you want in your shooting house. It comes with it's 5 little pieces. It has we have our own fluid head that's really small. There was no reason for them big bulky fluid heads. I got tired of toting all that stuff. And we have developed a camera arm to go on the tree that gives you full 35 inches. You can reach around, film all the way around the tree, up, down, whatever. And but we haven't put it in the factory yet. And it folds. It's the first camera arm that's ever been done, even with the fluid head on it. It all folds into one piece, like 5 inches wide and 13 inches, and only weighs 3.59 pounds. And there again, I just got tired of toting all that heavy stuff. It just got too much trying to, especially, like last night, me filming myself, it's just trying to tote all that extra stuff. It's just hard, Now I got a little bag with my camera in it and my quick all mount, which I'm in a climbing stand. It mounts right on the front of the stand right there, and the arm clamps on there. And of course, that whole thing weighed less than a pound. So it's really, it's really, really nice. But we have a lot of products that we've come out. We've come out with an umbrella that guys, the people in China have made umbrellas for a long time that sit on their heads. So when they're out in the garden, whatnot like that. And I mean, what happens is with this, you got a space between your head and the umbrella. And especially when you're on the water fishing, we made two. We got one that's 2 foot diameter, one is 3 foot diameter. We had them special made to the right size, one to keep the sun off of you, one to keep the rain off of you. And I mean, this thing is everybody that have got one saying, "Oh my golly," because it keeps that heat from getting right on top of your head and actually stops your face from sweating like unbelievable, like it did me yesterday out there. But you can wear it in the garden. You can fish with it real easily. And when you're on the water, most of the time you got a little breeze. I mean, it'll feel like an air conditioner on top of your head, and they're not expensive. But it's something that, that really and truly we should have had a long time ago. We should have used. But we do got a lot of product on there. And, of course, we are working with Alpine. So we have a lot of really good Alpine products that, especially the GoPro, it does everything you need to do and is really, really you'll have to look on. I don't want to be turning against other people's stuff or whatnot, but the price is astronomical on it. But the main thing that I really want you guys, you hunters out there, to know is that the scrape, when you leave your doe and take your doe and heat, and right now today, doe and heat is astronomical. It's certified. When we take the urine out of a doe, we know exactly how strong the pheromones are. So if they're not strong enough to draw the buck, then we take that doe out. We'll bring another doe in and bring her into estrus. And so when you get the doe in heat, it's going to draw the bucks. And it don't matter. Look, 365 days out of the year, somewhere in the United States, there's a doe coming in estrus. I talked to a guy yesterday. He just was bush hogging his pasture, and he hit a freshly born yearling and killed it. He said he will not be doing that again. I said, it really, honestly and truly, it don't matter when you do it here. It could be possible at any time, and that's the scientists and all that are saying that. That's not me that is saying that, but we put scrapes out. We made scrapes in August, and you would not believe the bucks that was working those scrapes that we sprayed with the doe and heat. And we use our doe and heat. We put a 2 doe estrus in there, not a 1. Your deer can separate 7 different smells, so with a 2 doe estrus, you're spraying, you will be drawing more than just that one dominant buck in. Even though he comes in, the others are going to smell that other. They may be behind him or whatnot, but he may get by you, and that next one not be very much smaller than he was, and give you a better opportunity. But working the scrape and spraying the bushes around your food plot and whatnot with the doe and heat, you will be amazed at the amount of deer you will see.
Well, Rex, I really appreciate your time. I know how busy guy you are. I know you're tired from last night, and if you guys want to see the pig that Rex killed last night, it's on his Facebook page, Vapor Trail Scents. Just go there and like and follow him, and he's got a lot of great pictures of deer, pigs, fish he's caught using some of his products. So y'all go check that out. And Rex, I hope you'll come back. You know, if you bring some more products to the market, I hope you'll holler at me so we can bring you back and talk about those.
Yeah, the thing we didn't talk about is our broadhead, the aftermath. I mean, that thing is, it's unlike anything that's ever been done before, too, but it is awesome.
Well, when we get a little closer to bow season up here in Alabama, I'd like to bring you back so you can talk about it a little bit. How's that sound?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, sure enough. And there are going to be some videos. We did that Africa trip. You know, we killed 9 animals over there. That'll be hitting out here for long where people can see it, you know, and whatnot. But, man, we appreciate it. And you be careful and take care. And y'all come on over and help me get rid of these hogs.
Well, you know, Rodney and I talked about that the last time, and we had a blast when we came, and we'd love to come again.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Rex. Talk to you soon.
Thank y'all, too. God bless.
God bless. Well, I appreciate Rex being on. And if you guys would like to check out his products, like I said earlier, it's GillieMonsterOutdoors.com, GHILLIE, monsteroutdoors.com, or you can go to vaportrailoutdoors.com. If you'd really like to see the 33-point buck in action, you can go to YouTube and go to Southern Legends Outdoors, or it's Southern Legends TV, I can't remember. And there's a show on there called The Pig Show, and that's the show we did down in Natchez, Mississippi with Rex. And you can really see the 33-point buck in action. And now we're going to go to Mr. Lee Pitts. Got him on the hotline here at the Back Roads. Lee, I know you had a big tournament this weekend out on Wheeler with the ABT, Alabama Bass Trail. Give us the information. How'd it go?
Well, I'll tell you, just starting out, you nailed it on the hotline because it was hot. So that was the first thing we'll talk about. Good Lord, man, it was hot out there. You know, Wheeler is one of my favorite, I say, traveling lakes. You know, it's not my home lake. I got to travel to get there, but I've always enjoyed fishing Lake Wheeler. And this was one of those deals where I knew when we were going that it was going to be a little bit late for what I wanted. I like to get up there real shallow, and some of the guys call them shallow. But I like to get up there tight and try to fish it like I do Washington Neely, and tried it a little bit through the week. You know, I had some practice days, and it just wasn't panning out for me. Catching fish in it, but not the size that I wanted to. And matter of fact, excuse me, I started out in the grass. I started out, when I say grass, I'm talking about bank grass. I thought I'm going to keep them honest. I'm going to give it 40 minutes, 30 minutes, and make a pass or two on some of the juice that I knew in the past that I've caught decent fish in. So I thought if they're going to be anywhere, they're going to be in these 2 or 3 little stretches. And I fished about 10, 15 minutes, and I pitched in. I'd swapped around on this. I was getting bit in practice, and I know I'm rambling. I was getting bit in practice on a biffle bug, and so I went to punching a biffle bug in some of this grass. And, man, I pitched in, and it was just like you see it on your TV shows. Man, the weeds parted, it shook, and that biffle bug said, boom. And I reared back on it, and here comes a 7-pounder out of there. And I got it in. It was a 7-pounder, all right, but it was a grinnell. You know what a grinnell is?
No, I do not. I've heard of it, but I've never caught one.
They call them mudfish, grinnell, but we don't have them on the Coosa chain, thank goodness, and don't have many. I've caught a lot of them in Florida, Okeechobee, Kissimmee chain, things like that. But this is a different looking fish, man. It's got a little. It's a prehistoric looking deal, and they got teeth on them too. So you don't want to stick your hand down there and lip him. But I knew right then when I rolled that one out of the grass, I need to move on.
There you go. I've heard of those, but I've never caught one.
Yeah. Oh, it'll get you harder going for a little bit now when you bow up on him because they're mean.
Well, a
It'll
drum will
get
do
that
the same
hard pumping.
thing.
So,
A drum will get your heart racing too until you realize what you got.
well, caught plenty of them doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So, I caught my day 2 and 3 of practice. I told them, I said, well, I've got a mixed bag. I caught a drum on a jig, drum on a crankbait, another trophy drum on a crankbait. Then I caught 2 catfish on a crankbait and had 3 little old bitty squeaker bass. And then the last day pretty much did the same thing. So really, I didn't have a good practice. I didn't find the things early like some of these guys did. And that's where I cannot say enough about my hummingbirds. I had a short little window to try to put some stuff together. And I backed out there and went out wide, got on the flats and got on the riverbanks and just, I did a lot of driving. I just put that Mercury in gear and let it eat down through there and just looking, and if I found a little old shell bed or found a patch that looked like some better grass, I'd mark it. And so what I caught and what I did was in that final day's practice, the last probably hour and a half, 2 hours, I was on the water.
Dang. So tell us a little bit about Saturday. I know that's a stressful day, to start off all those boats, getting your boat in the water, getting settled in, and then finally getting to get your line wet.
One of the best things about the ABT and with not only Kay Donaldson, but all of the staff that works with the ABT, and I'm talking about from the guys that check your live wells to the guys that bump fish to the guys that help park you. It's a professional deal, man. These people know what they're doing. Even at times where you got some of the anglers that may be their first year in or their first tournament in, they walk you through it, they help you, and they run a really, really smooth ship. I mean, they know what they're doing, and this is a deal where even if you're having some complications, they help you out with it. Can't say enough about these guys. You take 225 boats going to a lake, and you would think, oh, my God, we'll never get the boats in the water. It's a steady rhythm. They're dropping them in, they're backing them in, and shoving them off, and here we go. So really that aspect is almost second nature, with the people that you got working with you and helping you put in. But it was one of those deals that I knew this was the whole thing this year. Everybody trying their best to get into the ABT from our area because the championship was on Weiss Lake, is on Weiss Lake. And so here we are, everybody's fighting, for those top spots to try to make that championship. That's what the goal of just about, all the guys that we fish against and know from our area, they want to be at Weiss in October. And that was the whole thing. I knew how important this tournament was. We had a bad tournament. When I say we, I'll say I made some calls that I shouldn't have made. During the time we were at Lake Gunnersville, we had a 0 at Lake Gunnersville. And what it was, I was catching enough fish. I'd got one day off from my guide season because that was in the heat of crappie season. I had one day that was a rain out day that I didn't want to go, so I took off to Gunnersville, put a pattern together, and it was the week before the tournament week. So, and what I didn't realize, me not being there, me not knowing, they dropped the water about 6 inches. And so I was catching enough fish in that 14.5, 14.75, right under 15 that I was staying with the same pattern. And then I had one about 6.5 pounds that I had hooked up good coming to the boat. She breaks water and jumps off. And I thought, oh man, that was my one fish. If I'd have got just that one fish in that tournament, I could have breathed a little easier and fished a little looser than what I had to fish on this last one, because it came down to, if we did not catch a limit, and if we didn't catch, mid pack, I was going to be sitting on a bench when we roll into my hometown.
Right.
And you talk about, hey, you talking about a sad feeling. I'd have to go to therapy on that. I mean, it's just one of them deals where people wouldn't see this. Man, what happened to Lee? Oh, man, you didn't hear? Oh, man, he ain't left his house in 6 months. So I knew how important, and I know I'm talking a lot, and I'm bouncing around on something, but I'm gonna tell you, we found a mayfly hatch Friday. That we could see there was some flies buzzing around. I said, man, tomorrow morning it's gonna be on right here. And we found a couple of little clay banks, and I said, these fish are gonna be in here chasing these brim. They're gonna be in here eating. The mayflies are hatching, the mayflies are in the water, brim's eating the mayflies, bass eating brim. Textbook. Here we go. And my partner, he was throwing a buzz bait, and I was throwing a spook. I said, we'll call them up. We'll call them up going. And he got the first bite, and it was a 5. I'm saying, I saw the fish. I mean, this is kind of like hunting. When you're throwing that top water and you're up on that top of that surface, and those fish, and as aggressive they break that water. He had one probably 5 pounds, 4.5, 5 pounds, explode on that buzzbait. And when I heard the bite, I just dropped my pole and went to get the net. And all of a sudden he's looking at me and said, she didn't get it. She just missed it. Oh, you got to be kidding me. And so we go on down the bank a little bit. And I catch one, put it in the bucket, and then I catch a 3-pound brownfish. And like I've told you in the past, if I catch a smallmouth, it's by accident, but I'll take it when it's like that.
Dang right.
And so I put her in the boat, so we got 2. So I'm thinking, all right, here we go. We roll right back to the same place we just fished. I said, man, these fish are just replenishing. And once again, he had one this time, knocked that buzzbait out of, up in the air, just hit it, boom, didn't get it. I said, just keep it moving. Then I've got a 4-pound smallmouth, and how a fish, it looked like, when a cat's playing with a ball.
Yeah.
I got a spook, and I'm walking it, and that fish is just, it's rolling it with its, I call shoulders. It's rolling it. It's knocking it crooked. I can't slack back up, keep it walking. It's rolling all over this spook and will not hook up. So we had, in about a 30, 45-minute stretch, he had 2 big ones blow up on top water. I put a good one in the boat. Then I had 2 other, a largemouth and another smallmouth, just roll all over it and would not take it. And I'm thinking, that was our day right there.
Yeah.
There's our whole day right there. But, you got to keep going, switch gears. Let's roll. And left there, went to a cranking hole, had a little chunk rock in a little depression, and I put a limit in the boat. Just pop. And the camera boat's setting up behind us. And so they're getting the camera set up. He's getting his mic ready. He's trying to talk to us. And so about that time, that's our 5th fish, and he's talking, and it just shut down. So we give it another 30 minutes, and I knew this place. Once you get on some of these offshore places, and you bust them up a little bit, and you catch some fish, sometimes you got to give it another 30, 40 minutes, let them build back up. Just leave it alone. Looking back now, I should have just put my Raptors down, dropped those Raptors on it, sat there and gave it 30 minutes, ate my breakfast, drank the rest of my coffee, and waited and let them build back up. But, the adrenaline's flowing. We got to go. We got to take the best of this right here and make it before this sun gets high. So we went about 250 yards on another spot, and as we sat down on it, I heard a boat coming. I said, we need to get back over there to our juice. And as we get our jackets on, start to take off, he blows right by us and lets off. I could see that Mercury of his setting down. I thought, oh, no. And they sat down right on top of it.
Oh, man.
And I came back through the day 3 or 4 different times, and that same boat was sitting there. I don't know what they had. They may not have caught nothing. They may have been the guys that won it. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's one of those deals. You know, I've always heard this. Fishing is a game of right and wrong decisions.
All day long.
Yeah. All day long. It's you got to roll off of one scenario to the next one. It's right and wrong decisions. And so I know those guys stayed there all day because we checked it periodically all through the day, and they were still sitting. Like I said, they had the Raptors down. They were sitting right there, both of them standing on the front deck throwing at it. So, you know, one of those deals.
Yeah. That's a terrible feeling when you got, you know, some skin in the game.
Yeah, what's a terrible feeling is when you make a long run and you pull up to a spot and you're seeing a boat out there and you go, no, they're not on it, they're not on it. And you come within 100 yards and sit down and you're watching them culling.
No.
That's a terrible feeling.
That is terrible. That's terrible. Well, you know, I watched the weigh-in when it started. And by the way, they do you know, you've bragged on the ABT several times and what Kay does. And if you've ever watched, you probably never have because you're always there. But if you ever watched the weigh-in on Facebook, man, it's first class.
It is, and I'm going to tell you something. Luke Duncan, I can't say enough about him, and I did not bounce back well with what he was saying, and I'll tell you why. I was exhausted. I got out there. I didn't have a front seat in the boat, and I got on that riverbank, and from about 10:45 till 2:15, that Lake Wheeler can get rough. And I'm out there trying to spot lock, and I'm coming off the front deck. You know, as that boat catches about 2 waves, it lifts up. Trolling motor comes out of the water. When it drops, I'm in the air. So I'm just, you know, I'm doing all I can just to stand up there. I'm being beat around. The last hour and a half, I fished off my knees. Wow. I stood out there with that trolling motor on spot lock, it jumping up and down, and I was on my knees up front. So when I came into weigh-in, my mind's already clicking about, okay, here's how many pounds I needed to have to make it. Here's, oh, my Lord, it's going to be close. I'm not sure. Oh, man, that one fish that missed me. So all this is going through my mind, and Luke does a great job of talking and interacting with the anglers. And so he asked me, and I didn't get it. All of a sudden he said, Lee, you want to stop the weigh-in right now? What he meant, let's just stop it, because I was in right then. And I said, no, let's don't do that. And he kind of looked at me like, oh, I figured you would want to stop it right now because you're in. And I went, oh, yeah, okay, I got you. I thought you was going to scold and reprimand me for my finish. He starts laughing. He says, no, man, you're good. But it was one of those deals that I was so exhausted. My mind was still, I'm trying to do the mathematical equation of what we got on stage. And, I mean, it was just, it was one of those not only physical but mentally stressful days. Just, wow.
Well, I knew based on what we talked about before Saturday. I think we talked Friday. And you told me how tough it was out there. And that, you know, really nobody was catching fish. And I think... Now, I don't have the sound on my computer. I'm just watching. So I didn't hear y'all's exchange, but I did see you up there. But I think the first bag that came in was the guys that won it. 23 pounds or something. I was like, oh, dang.
And that's unbelievable. And talking with a lot of my buddies there, talking to them, either you sit down on a place where that spot replenished all day, or you struggled. It was just one of those deals because several of my buddies, they said, hey, man, we had checked this place 2 or 3 times during practice and got bit. But one of my buddies, they had a good day. I think they had 15, 16 pounds. But he told me, he said, for 2.5 hours that morning, it was either every cast or every other cast. And he said there was no way there could be that many fish there. But he said we were catching 2.5, 2 3/4, and just just as quick as one to get in. We wasn't even netting them.
Wow.
I was like, oh my goodness,
That's crazy.
That's amazing.
Well, let's go to your ride home. Tell us a little bit about that ride home.
It was pretty brutal for a little while. Not only physically just exhausted. We're coming home. We're really not seeing each other because we're looking at the points, and you can go on and check. They got the live leaderboard, and we're watching it. And we've been driving for about 2 hours, and I already came to grips with, hey man, you came up short. With that zero, and it's hard enough to come back. If you ever zero one of these, and I talked to some of my buddies mid-season, and they were like, "There's a possibility." He said, "I've heard of some guys that have made it, but you got your work cut out for you." And that was our whole goal. That was the whole goal. I said, for one, first goal is catch 5. Then we have got to make the championship when it comes to Weiss in October. And it was one of those things that I was down and out. Matter of fact, I'd already let my partner out at his house, and I was going home, just wasn't saying anything. Had a function that I had to get to, one of my good friends. It was his birthday, and I thought, man, I've got to go to his birthday party, but I'm not going to be pleasant. I'm not going to be any fun for anybody. And I get a call from Kay Dawson, and she says, "You home yet?" I went, "Nope. Don't know if I'm going home." She said, "Well, I'm going to help your feelings a little bit." And she said, "Don't know for sure, but I'm 99% sure the way that this is rolled out, y'all are in." And I mean, it was almost like my seat got fluffier. My truck was driving better. I was like, "You got to be kidding me." She's like, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure, because she and I had talked about this. Me, that being my home lake, everybody coming to my hometown. It's one of those things you don't want to be sitting up there with Cherokee Chamber of Commerce and me up there with no jersey on, with my khakis and a nice dress shirt, thanking everybody for making it. So it was one of those deals that just the whole mood changed. It's it was, oh my God, it was amazing. I just like, I called my buddy and he said, "You got to be kidding me." I said, "Oh no." And he said, "Well, turn back around. We'll go out to eat." I was like, "No, I'm going home now." So,
look, I've got to turn around because I was backing this boat off a cliff.
Yeah, it was one of those deals where all of a sudden you're like, "I'm back." Daddy's back.
Well, that's awesome, man. Congratulations. I haven't been there with you, but I've been there with you mentally, and I have felt your stress, over these last few months, and it's a big relief for me too. So, congratulations, Lee.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And really, when I was, and I'll say this, so many of the guys, when I was coming up, man, I had 2 fish that I knew I had to keep water on them and keep as much oxygen as I could in the bag, because ABT is so strict on you can only weigh 1 fish, dead fish. And they want to have 0 dead fish because they're so particular on, with our sport of bass fishing and taking care of these fish, that they want to make it where the penalty, if you have one that doesn't make it, it's going to hurt you or all through that day. And see, that was one of the things too. I couldn't go back down river to one of my best spots. And Steve said, "Man, we got to get back down there." And I said, "I can't." He went, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'll kill these fish if I get that rough water going back." I said, "There's no way I can." And that's what a lot of people don't realize. You got to keep that oxygen level. You got to keep that temperature right. And 2, you can't beat them up. You can't get out there and beat these fish to death. I mean, it's hard enough on me taking a beating, but I've got to baby those fish. And I said, there's no way I can make a 40-minute run in this rough water. I said, I will kill every fish we have in that live well. I said, so that's out. We just got to figure something out up here.
Well, the way it worked out, that was the right decision.
Yeah, it was. And what I was going to tell you when I walked up going to stage, several and you know, we all talk. We're all buddies to an extent. Through the trail, we've got different groups. We know each other. We fish against each other all our lives. So, you know, we knew, and all of a sudden I said, you got them, don't you? Because I had my jersey on. I had my jersey, had all my stuff. I said, no, I don't. I said, I may have 11 pounds. They went, no, you got them. And I said, no, the reason I'm very, very fortunate. I have some good people that help me do what I do for a living. I've got some really good people. You know, your Bucks Island, Mercury Outboards, Humminbird, Minn Kota, Lou's, Reel and Rods. You know, I've got some people really help me. And then I've got some also hometown people, our Chamber of Commerce, Bobby Ledbetter Used Cars, you know, people like that. I said, they deserve, whether I make it or not, their logo will be seen on this when I go across that stage. And that's just how I feel about it. So, you know, some guys, okay, I'll dress up when I got them. But to me, the people that help me, the people that every opportunity I have, I'm putting their name out there in front of all these people.
Well, that's what they want.
Yeah.
You know, when it's hard enough to get a sponsor, but it's even harder to keep one. And that's the kind of work it takes to have them.
Last week, when we were talking about last week with K2 Coolers, you know, the K2 Cooler's been good to us. You know, there's several names out there in the thick wall cooler world, but hey, K2, and a lot of people didn't know anything about them in this area up here in North Alabama, but they do now.
Yeah, well, it's a great cooler. Yeah, I put them up against anybody.
Yeah. So they're, you know, like I said, that's my job that I do for them because I appreciate the help they give me.
There you go. Well, it's easy when the product's good. I mean, I've been on several trips where the only way to keep stuff cold is in that cooler, and that cooler gets the job done. So my hat's off to them.
Well, and like I said, it's a fine product.
Yeah. Well, Lee, I know we're at the end of the ABT tournament schedule except for the championship. But I did want to get you to talk about that last tournament, and congratulations on making the championship. And now, since that's done, you and I are going to get in the boat and we're going to do a little fishing. We've been talking about it for weeks. We just can't match schedules up. But if somebody wants a bass trip with you, or if somebody wants to go ahead and think ahead and get on the books for crappie in the fall, give them your contact information.
Yeah, all they got to do is call me. It's Lee Pitts with Pitts Outdoors. It's 256-390-4145. I've got an email at leepitts@live.com. You'd be better off to call me because I went and checked some emails today, and I think it had been 3 months since I looked at it.
Well, and that brings up something I want to say too, is I take care of as best I can, I take care of your Facebook page. And what I tell everybody is when they send you a message on Facebook, I give them your phone number.
Right.
So if you do contact Lee on Facebook, I'm just going to turn around and give you Lee's phone number because 9 times out of 10, Lee's on the water or he's asleep.
Yeah. If it's getting dark, oh man, we're like a little house on the prairie. We done shutting everything down in our place.
You blow your lantern out and go to sleep.
That was the Walton. Not John Boy, not Mary Ellen, not.
Look, if you say that in your house and somebody answers you, you need to get out.
Yeah. But we do. And like I said, me and my wife both, you know, we start our day. We're up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30, getting it going, just trying to make it turn. And This time of year, I kind of slow down a little bit and I can catch back up, but still my sleeping habits, and we still get up and we try to get after it best we can, and we get to bed early.
There you go. There you go. Well, Lee, thank you, man. And we'll talk to you next week.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you. And hopefully we'll have some good tales to tell after we go fishing.
That's right. They might be lies, but they'll be good tales.
We'll make it good no matter what.
Thanks, Lee.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Lee Pitts once again with us. I'd like to thank him as always. And I'd like to thank Mr. Rex Holmes from Vapor Trail Scents for joining us on this episode. And thank you guys for tuning in. If you have a question for me or Lee, Rodney or Rusty Burrows, it's thebackroadsinfo@gmail.com.